Hi guys. In this tutorial NMAP attack prevention, we talk about basic methods to recognize server vulnerabilities and how to solve them. NMAP is a powerful network security tool written by Gordon Leone. It was released almost 20 years ago, in 1997, and has since been standard for network mapping and port scanning, allowing network administrators to discover hosts and services on a computer network, and create a map of the network. Widely used by network admins and penetration testers, but also by malicious hackers, NMAP is free to use and is released under this license gives you the right to run, study, share, and modify the software. Slowloris is DDoS attack software that enables a single computer to take down a web server. Due to the simple yet elegant nature of this attack, it requires minimal bandwidth to implement and affects the target server's web server only, with almost no side effects on other services and ports. Slowloris has proven highly effective against many popular types of web server software, including Apache 1x and 2x. Tests a web server for vulnerability to the Slowloris DOS attack by launching a Slowloris attack. Now the script has shown in this video. By default runs for 30 minutes if DOS is not achieved. Please note that the number of concurrent connections must be defined with a max parallelism option. Default is 20. Suggested is 400 or more. Also, be advised that in some cases this attack can bring the web server down for good, not only while the attack is after finding that your server is vulnerable to this attack. Now the time is to mitigate the vulnerability. A description of 3 of the most popular and easiest to implement techniques for preventing and mitigating slow HTTP DOS attacks are listed in this slide. Number 1 is using mod-rec timeout. Mod_rec timeout can be used to set timeouts for receiving the HTTP request headers and the HTTP request body from a client. As a result, if a client fails to send header or body data within the configured time, a 408 request timeout error is sent by the server. The above configuration allows up to 20 seconds for header data to be sent by a client, provided that a client sends header data at a rate of 500 bytes per second. The server will allow a maximum 40 seconds for the headers to complete. Number 2 is using mod QoS. 100,000 connections and limits the server to a maximum of 256 connections. In addition, the configuration limits each IP address to a maximum of 50 connections and disables HTTP keep alive when 180 connections are used, 70% of the connections in this case. Finally, the configuration requires a minimum of 150 bytes per second per connection, and limits the connection to 1,200 bytes per second when max clients is reached. Number 3 is using mod security. Mod security is an open-source web application firewall (WAF) that it may be used with Apache HTTP server. Mod_security makes use of rules that can be applied to carry out specific functions. The above rules identifies when Apache HTTP server triggers a 408 status code and tracks how many times this happened while keeping the data in IP-based persistent storage so it can correlate across requests. If this event has happened more than 5 times in 60 seconds, subsequent requests for that IP address will be dropped by mod_security for a period of 5 minutes. You can download all scripts from our website hardenbit.com/nmap-part 1. This script checks if an FTP server allows anonymous logins. If anonymous is allowed, it gets a directory listing of the root directory and highlights writable files. The ftp-anon.maxList parameter is the maximum number of files to return in the directory listing. Use a negative number to disable the limit, or 0 to disable early. Now the question is how to prevent from FTP anonymous attack. In order to secure your server from anonymous user login, then follow given below steps. First, open CONF. Second, set anonymous enable equals no. And third, restart the And the last slide from NMAP Prevention Tutorial Video Part 1 is about checking HTTP config backup. When web server files are edited in place, the text editor can leave backup or swap files in a place where the web server can serve them. The script checks for these files: config.php for PHP and Expression Engine, config.php for Joomla, local settings.php for MediaWiki, mt-config.cgi for movable type, and etc. And for each of these file applies the following And the last slide from NMAP Prevention Tutorial Video Part 1 is about checking HTTP Follow config
us on
backup.com. When web files are edited in place, the text editor can leave backup or swap files in a place where the web server can serve